Good evening, and thank you for coming out to your computers to see Bracket Night at the Arcade Comedy Theater at Home, Pittsburgh's home for all things comedy in your home. Please welcome out your panelists for tonight, starting with Kristen McLean, Jason Clark, Nia Johnson, and Jeremiah Ion. And of course, give it up for your host, the one and only Katie Tarara.
Oh, thanks, everyone. Thank you. Oh, I hope everyone's cozy. Is everyone cozy? Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks so much for coming out. I'm Katie Tarrar. I'll be your host for Bracket Night at Arcade at Home tonight. Of course, we're at home this evening, and so I hope everyone has taken their time to find a really cozy place in your house. Maybe you have a warm drink. Maybe you have some fur that just was lying around and you decided to... Just me. That was just me. Okay. What do you have fur and sequins for if not to wear in your house on a Thursday night alone? That's what I've always said. Anyway, thank you so much for coming to Bracket Night. This is our show that we do every month at the Arcade Comedy Theater. We've done the show, I think, 4 or 5 times now live, which is so fun. But in light of the current COVID situations and the weather and everything, we decided for this month to bring it at home. But the format will be the same as we do at the theater. So if you haven't checked us out at the theater, this is a great way to find out what we're up to. And we're also really excited because by doing this online, our friends and loved ones from all over the world can join us for a bracket night. So thanks so much for coming. If this is your first time at a bracket night, let me give you the lay of the land. Bracket night is a game where we together, so the 5 of us on this screen, but also all of you at home, will determine an objective truth using subjective means. So in other words, tonight you will get to turn your personal opinions into generally accepted fact. It's not science, it's bracket night. And what's going to happen is you're going to vote through a series of matchups to decide once and for all what is the best Winter Olympics event. This is a big responsibility because once we get to that number 1 best event tonight, everyone here now knows the answer. And the next time someone tries to have a small talk conversation with you about what the best Winter Olympics event is, you'll have to say it is... You'll fill in the blank with tonight's winner, and then you will say, new topic, that's already been decided. So I hope you're all ready to handle that because that will be expected of anyone watching the feed now or into perpetuity since this will live on YouTube forever. But that does feel like a big responsibility, I know. But you're not alone because we have this incredible panel of experts who are here to help. Kristen, Jeremiah, Jason, and Nia are going to help you. They're going to make arguments throughout the evening about different events in the Winter Olympics so that we can decide together once and for all what's the best event. But, it's winter, it's cold outside. It's been a while since we've made these kind of arguments. So we do like to have a little bit of a warm up here at the top of the show. And at Bracket Night HQ, we spent a lot of time talking about Olympics lately, obviously, in preparation for this event and also the 2022 games in Beijing, which start next Friday, February 4th. And one of the things that we've enjoyed talking about is how there's an event, which we'll talk about later, in the Winter Olympics called biathlon. You may or may not be familiar with this, but biathlon is where people cross-country ski and target shoot with rifles. So it's a skiing event, but with a gun. And we thought, wouldn't every sport, every event benefit from an increase in stakes like that, right? So what if every sport had, guns require a lot of skill and safety courses and things like that. Let's find a weapon that's a little easier for everyone to use. How about swords? That's what we thought, right? So I'm going to ask the panelists, which is better? Would the Winter Olympics be better with swords, or would the Summer Olympics be better with swords? I'm going to start with Kristen McLean, one of the Bracket Night team. Kristen, which is better with swords? Give me an example of an event that you think would be better with swords.
I think in general, Winter Olympics is already insane, already dangerous in many ways. So why not add even more danger? Imagine what maybe the most insane of all of them, the skeleton where you're face first on a speeding piece of metal with a sword just coming right out of the helmet.
Oh,
just,
look at that.
Yeah. And throw and grab one with your hand. You have two hands. You can strap more to your feet. You can put swords all over, and you're just waiting to make tragedy happen.
That's great. It's great. Just like a little unicorn of death coming down the hill. I love it.
Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you, Kristen. Jeremiah Ion, comedian and host of many game shows and karaoke events himself, worth following on the social media. Jeremiah, what would you like to see with swords?
Well, I'm going to have to respectfully disagree. I think that the problem is that you've already got danger in the Winter Olympics, but I feel like that there could be more danger in the summer. Specifically, I'm thinking about some of the more active ones that you don't really get during the winter. I'm talking volleyball. I want there to be swords in volleyball so bad. I'm thinking you get one person from the opposite team in the middle of that other side team. And if you don't get that over the net, somebody is coming over and just slicing that directly out of the air. Like, it's not only get it over the net, but get it away. I want just parrying, but that's it. It's bump, set, spike, parry. That's how this is gonna go.
That's excellent. Thank you. I didn't think about. I think fencing is a Summer Olympic event that already has swords. I guess I didn't really think about that.
Just recruit from them. I mean, you guys can carpool. If anything, it saves on missions.
That's great. Thank you, Jeremiah. Jason Clark, general manager of the Arcade Comedy Theater, stand-up comic and great connector of all funny people in my experience, is with us tonight. Jason, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor. I gotta tell you, Kristen and Jeremiah, I agree with so much. I'm such an agreeable person to begin with, but I do find some flaws in your thoughts. So I think that it's definitely the danger in the Winter Olympics. I agree, Kristen. Cuckoo crazy. That's why we can't go winter, right? Jeremiah, I'm a little concerned with the ball we're using. It seems like the game will not progress very far, but you're workshopping it, and I get it. What I'm looking at, Summer Olympics, rhythmic gymnastics. Take the ball, take the ribbon, get it out of there. I want to see some flips. I just want to look at, like, yes, swords on fire, the rings are on fire. Like, this is a Cirque du Soleil event that we can market, and we can make so much money and win medals. It's rhythmic gymnastics in the Summer Games.
That's awesome. Thank you, Jason. Look at that. Whoo,
beautiful.
The majesty there. It's incredible. Nia Johnson, manager of new programming at Arcade Comedy Theater, hilarious improviser, part of the Nebby Neighbors team, and probably lots of other cool things. You should always try to see Nia, and we love to have her back. Nia, our first returning bracket night panelist. She's so great in September. We're like, let's get Nia back. Nia, what Winter Olympics or Olympics event, winter or summer, would you like to see with swords?
While I will agree with Jason that I think rhythmic gymnastics with swords would be incredible to watch, I'm taking a much more realistic approach. And I feel like we all know that it's probably going to be the Hunger Games in 2024 and not the Winter Olympics. So therefore, I think speed skating with arms for swords. So therefore, you win food for your district and less mouths to feed in the other districts. So it's like everyone wins. It's a win-win for everyone.
Oh, that's amazing.
Look at that.
Yeah.
It does feel soon.
I definitely, Nia keeping it real Johnson. That's what we love Nia about. She just comes, she keeps it real.
Yeah,
the first Transformers movie had a robot that speed skated with like blade arms. I think you're onto something. That was
our first hint, because you know what happens in Hollywood does eventually happen in real life.
We're just going to have to clear it with the lawyers, Nia, whether or not you're doing some copyright infringement. We just got to see.
Oh,
Yeah,
I feel like they would be stealing my idea, but okay.
We'll count on YouTube to keep us honest on that. Well, great warm up. These are going to be great arguments tonight. I can tell already. So throughout the show, these four folks are going to keep making arguments about what's the best Winter Olympic event. No swords. We're just going to traditional, historic, no sword event, at least for for tonight. This will be through a series of head-to-head matchups in a tournament style bracket. And if you would like to follow along at home, you can go to @bracket_night on Instagram, and we have the bracket for tonight posted there. But also we'll put it up in the middle of the slides as we go through the evening, so we'll be able to see where we are in the matchups. And you're going to vote at home based on our panelists' arguments and your own opinions, your own experience. You can use all of that. It's your vote, and whichever Olympic event wins each matchup will move forward to the next round, and then we'll vote down. So we'll start with 16, and by the end of the show we will together have determined which is the one best Winter Olympics event. We've given all of our panelists a chance to practice arguing. So audience, we want to give you a chance to practice voting. So we're going to vote just which is better with swords: Summer Olympics with swords, Winter Olympics with swords. You can see on the screen in the upper, I think that's your upper left corner, is a QR code. If you hold your phone up to that, it should take you directly to the voting link where you can vote in real time. That one link will be used all night. So if you put it up one time on your phone, you can just go back to that, and we will be moving through the votes throughout the night. I'm pulling mine up right now as well.
I believe the link is also in the description of the YouTube video as well for those of you.
Excellent. It is. Thank you, Jeremiah. Good catch. It's also there on YouTube. So it's the poll is live now. So you can vote which is better: Summer Olympics with swords, Winter Olympics with swords.
Listen to this. You are like, I do want to say, this is like a professional show. Oh my
Oh yeah.
This is a professional show.
Aaron Tarnow. Oh my goodness.
It is not Todd. Oh.
I mean, I prefer the Winter Olympics just in general, but Summer Olympics with swords would actually get me to care. Like, that would absolutely send me overboard.
Ultimately, there are more Summer Olympic events, so that just means more swords,
That's
which is
true.
always a good thing.
Wow,
That's a really good point.
Let's be real here. There are no losers in this bracket. They both will be amazing with swords.
They would. They really would.
Those would be amazing.
Would probably give more people a chance to get into the Olympics for the immediate Olympics following. Not everyone's making it.
Especially for the relay race folks. Like, for replacing the baton with a sword, you're going to have a lot of turnover with athletes.
A lot of missing fingers. The
I think-
baton, like, torch carry, can that just for the summer be replaced with a flaming sword, or is that?
Oh, that's a great
little too
idea.
far?
Sure.
We're on to something.
Yes, we are.
All good ideas here tonight. But I think we're going to call it with a slight advantage to the Summer Olympics with swords.
Wow.
Oh.
Oh, man.
I'm okay ending this on a tie.
Oh, the upset of the century.
This is the upset. I really thought we were done, and now
What is happening?
what? This is thrilling. You could tell. Thank you, everyone at home, for voting, because this is really exciting. There was a chance it was only going to be like the five of us voting, and it wouldn't have been nearly as exciting. But I think we end this one on a tie.
Call it.
I mean, this one can tie.
We're gonna. This one's a tie. All Olympics. What? What
I feel
a
like somebody
professional
was
show
just
this
waiting.
is.
Just waiting.
All right, we really are calling it. Winter Olympics with swords have the slight edge. Oh, draw two votes. Oh my goodness, so
Wow.
exciting. Whew. I mean, and that was just the practice. That'd be great. Okay, we're almost ready to start the real show. We have it. This has all just been warm up. So I do want to share there. We have one rule for bracket night and then one warning for the audience. So if we can, let me do those and then we'll get right into it with round one here. So here's the one rule of bracket night is that we always fight nice here. We're all on the same team. The panelists are going to disagree with each other at times. That's fine. But they're going to keep their arguments about the relative benefits, positive and negative features of the Olympic events we're talking about. They're not going to be making fun of each other's glasses because all of us have glasses. But it is important also to remember we're all on the same team. Like we're all the panelists, the audience. We're just trying to thank you, Jason. we're all trying to get to the right answer. That's all. The best possible answer for the best Winter Olympics event. So that's the rule. We're going to fight nice. Rule 2. Oh, and I would say it's a great idea to have fight nice in your house as well. It's a good house rule for those of you watching in groups. Tonight is going to be fun, but I do have a warning that you may have your heart broken. In fact, you almost guaranteed will have your heart broken at least once because we're going to be voting through, and we're starting with 16 great Winter Olympic events, and we're getting down to one. Only one can win. So be ready. It's going to hurt a little bit. If you don't think you're up for it, now would be a good time, to turn off the feed. But please don't do that. We don't want you to do that. It's going to be okay. This isn't real heartbreak. It's temporary. But it will be real, and we'll talk about that later. Okay, so with that, I think we're ready to get started with round 1. So in round 1, each of our panelists are going to share their expert opinions for one of the matchups in the bracket, The other panelists are going to chime in. They might have something else to add, something funny to say, or something important fact. They'll add that in. We will vote twice in this round, but we'll always let you know when the voting's about to happen. And our panelists are going to share with you, especially here in the first round, what are the criteria they're using in their personal judgment and recommendation about which Winter Olympic event is better. So for the first one, we're going to start with Kristen McLean. Kristen, can you share with us in the matchup of singles figure skating versus doubles figure skating, which is the better Winter Olympics event and why?
So I wouldn't have guessed that I'd be so excited to talk about figure skating until I really sat down and watched some videos and refamiliarized myself. By trade, my job is a costume maker, and it is for the ballet. And I can't think of a thing more closely related than figure skating. So part of my criteria is that the Winter Olympics, summer is very technical and very athletic, and not that the Winter Olympics isn't, but the Winter Olympics are all about the spectacle, all about entertainment value, and that is figure skating to the max. The costumes, the intense emotion that goes into the performances, and then the athleticism of it is strikingly like ballet, except also a little bit like Zumba and aerobics. And then fast forward all of that on 3 times speed. And it's nuts. People are being thrown in the air. People are balancing on each other and intertwined with each other, all while moving on sharp blades. It's crazy. In the end, I think I should like doubles better because it's twice as much of a thing. But I'm going to go with singles. The doubles just don't have quite the same speed, quite the same. They spin sometimes 15 times, and all the axles, there's tons of axles. I don't even know what those are in the end. But the singles are just a little faster, a little more impressive. I'm going to go with singles.
It's fair, but I would just say, what about 1992 classic film, The Cutting Edge? That's my argument for doubles.
Toe pick.
But for singles, I want to point out the 2018 film I, Tonya.
Yeah.
If we're going to be citing films for our choices, so much more drama.
We can definitely tell the age of panelists as Jeremiah is talking about the movie based off of the actual event that we watched live, Nia.
No, I know.
like Jeremiah's like, I've seen Margot Robbie portray. Listen, bro.
Yes.
We talked about film, not history. I'll talk about the Miracle on Ice later. And
Oh, I'm
That
gonna get that out of the
entire
way
thing was
first.
absolutely extraordinary, and I don't know if there's been any type of controversy like that in any of the Olympics. And I'm not
that's
counting
true.
doping, because I feel like doping is always its own separate scandal. It's its own separate thing. But there's never been a scandal like the Nancy Kerrigan, Tonya Harding scandal in
That's
figure
right.
skating. I will
And I-
say though, there's more of a chance to die, particularly for the smaller of the two of the couple, because when they do that swing around and their head like skims the ice without being slammed
Oof.
into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pamchenko can't do that.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the agreement. I'm a fan of both of these events. I love them. That's the one I'm really gonna pop some popcorn and sit down and enjoy those ones. But man, I love doubles. I love to watch the doubles. I love the teamwork of it. And then they hand them teddy bears after, and that's dope.
I think I
They
want
do
to.
that in singles too.
I
Do
want to
they?
go a little bit more towards singles, because like when you're doing doubles, you actually have to care about another person whenever with what your moves are. If it's just yourself, you can be reckless as hell. You can just do the dumbest, dangerous thing, and you don't have to worry about the other person, because you can just be like, well, it's just me. And some of the things that I've seen during singles have been absolutely terrifying. Just like what was described, with like just an inch away with your head from the ice as you go 70 miles per hour. It's incredible. I love both of them, but I'm more scared when I'm watching singles.
Interesting. Well, great. Thank you for that. That's great. Lots of good input there. At least we know one of the figure skatings is going to make it to the round of 8.
Yeah.
So we can save our scandal talk.
Ultimately, either one is great to move on.
Yeah. So Jeremiah, coming back to you, curling or bobsleigh, which I just feel like the fact that it's officially called bobsleigh is so fancy.
Which
Is that new?
I rejected it so much in my own notes. I wrote down bobsled.
Yes.
Bobsleigh does make it seem like a little blue ribbon. It's great. I love how it's given like the two most like, I feel like hipstery or like memeable choices out of all of these.
Yes.
Because every single one of these events has like a historical or reasonable backing as to why it's happening, whether that be for travel, survival. You can kind of historically see something like, oh, well, this is something you had to do within that time, and then it just became bragging rights. But curling is curling. Curling is just, you do curling because there's literally no other reason to do it than to do it. And that's like the most rad punk rock excuse for any Olympic sport. There's no, you curl because it's a thing to do. And I don't think anybody really actually understands what's really going on whenever you watch it, even if you've seen it year after year and you get the idea, and you're like, you throw the thing and you brush, you become excited and like transfixed by it, but you have zero idea what's happening, but you're so excited, you're so pumped over like, yeah, that's moving, and somebody's moving a broom, like, oh my God. It's, if you don't know what makes curling great, then you've never seen curling, because it would be impossible to describe to somebody who's never seen it. It's curling. And as far as bobsledding, maybe bobsleighing to our friends in the north, if you don't know what makes bobsledding great, then you've never seen the 1993 Disney classic Cool Runnings. Is that a good enough generational gap? Is this good for
That's
everyone?
great.
Okay.
It's a great movie.
Kiss the egg.
Mwah. You dead? Yeah, man. Bobsledding is so cool, if you'll pardon the terrible joke. Even Jamaica wanted in on it, and it never snows there. It's just, you take a bunch of people dressed like Power Rangers and you strap them into a literal hollowed out rocket, and you just throw them, and you hope that the speed that's capable of killing them will be enough to either win them a medal or be easy enough to just bury them all in one fell swoop, because they're already casketed. It's another thing that's I slowly realized as I was reading up on all of these that the Winter Olympics to me just is terror, and that's kind of how I choose the ones that I enjoy the most. Everything on here seems like a complete total 1 second away from being just wiped off the face of the earth, except for curling. Curling is just great. It's relaxing. It's ice shuffleboard. I hate that I have to choose between these two, but I'm gonna have to go with curling.
It's a hard call. That's a hard call, Jeremiah.
Super hard.
Wow, it is, and I kind of like your method there, where you're basically curling is your sorbet after dinner. It's all of this danger and all of this technical stuff, and then it's just a bunch of guys that were drinking beer, and they're like, "We can push a rock down the ice, and you can relax." I get it. I'm surprised that if curling does come through this round, I would be very surprised. But I think you've created a lot of thoughts for our viewers because it is kind of a relaxer.
I think go ahead, Nina.
Kristen.
I was just going to say real quick, I think of curling like a Saturday, Sunday afternoon baseball game. Like the vibe is really chill and, oh yeah, there's a game on. And then, oh wait, what's happening? And then it goes back to, just chilling again. It's got a nice energy.
Yeah, I was Bob's. For me, the point to bobsledding, and I'm with you, Jeremiah. It is bobsledding.
Absolutely,
it is that. It's a classic, but at the same time, it's something. Not only is it something that exists, it's been around for a long time. They sat down on something and were like, "Oh, we'll go down." Curling was like Jason said, "I can move this rock with a broom." Watch me. That is the literal sport of hold my beer. That is what curling is.
And to even tell you more, there's a curling center, a facility for curling in McKees Rocks, Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
that is how accessible. You can go. I know the axe throwing place. They also do curling during the winter.
Oh my gosh!
You just don't get the broom. Whereas I'm like, BS. I'm the broomer.
Well, I'm excited that we're all going to go curling after this. This is
Let's do it.
So, Jason, ice hockey or cross country skiing?
Oh man! Hey, listen. when Katie asked me to get ready, listen. I'm 2 minutes on the clock. I will not blow the light. Listen, I'm telling you. When Katie just walked up to me at the theater the one night, was like, "Hey, do you want to do bracket night?" And I'm like, "Of course I want to do bracket night." And she's like, "We're talking about Winter Olympics." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, this is amazing," because I've skied once in my life, so I know what the hell I'm talking about.
That's right.
But here's what I based my decisions and my thoughts on. Pretty much what I love about Winter Olympics, that if I basically maybe put a little effort into some of these events, I could probably do them. Not on an Olympic level, but I feel like I could pull them off with some warm clothes. And this first matchup for me, ice hockey versus cross country skiing, and you might think, no brainer, man. Really, hockey? We're from Pittsburgh. But I'm going to tell you, cross country skiing, there is nothing like that serenity that you feel as you're just sort of going down. And there's no real, there's danger, but not real danger. And then you get about halfway through it and you realize you are incredibly out of shape. And this seemed like it was going to be a lot easier than this. So don't downplay the cross country skiing. And the other thing is, I look at Olympic events, I'm concerned when judges get involved. I'm going to side towards times, and I don't want somebody from some country giving someone a 5 when you knew that was a 10 or however they judge it. But ice hockey, the ultimate team sport, when we look at how much they have to go through, and then of course Jeremiah already mentioned it, the Miracle on Ice, 1980, coached by the amazing Herb Brooks, who was later the general manager of the Pittsburgh Penguins. I mean, it was just unbelievable. As a young man, I was in kindergarten, folks. There was a lot going on in the world at that time. And when we beat the Russians, that was it. And a lot of people don't even think that they still had to play more. That wasn't the medal. That was just beating this team of professional hockey KGB agents. And that's why hockey gets the edge. I'm sorry to my friend Melanie that does a lot of cross country skiing. It's ice hockey. It is.
You really had me with cross country skiing. I mean, I was already kind of there. I think of all of these, the cross country is the most athletic. Literally every muscle in their body is doing something. And it looks like they're doing something with not a whole lot of payoff. It still looks like a slog up those hills, and it just, nothing looks easy about the cross country skiing. I definitely would probably choose that, especially because I kind of want to ice hockey and like the snowboarding. I sort of want to like, okay, guys, you have your other things, which isn't fair, but they have their place in the world. So I automatically sort of downplay them a little bit, but that's just my own.
That's a great point. Absolutely.
They're excellent points. Ice hockey is drama on skates, and cross country skiing is torture on skis, essentially. Just every muscle just like exploding out. I just wanted to take a very quick point towards a thing that Jason said, which is he had said that he was in kindergarten when the Miracle on Ice happened and it was still important. And I was in kindergarten when Nancy Kerrigan got piped outside of the practice.
Get ready for the callbacks. A lot of callbacks in this show, people. Get ready.
I do want to say that I agree with Jason about the serenity of being able to cross country ski through a snowy, wintry oasis, but you cannot discount the serenity of feeling your knuckles like ram into somebody's face. And it's actually a legal part of the sport.
I lost my hat.
Well, and
that's a tough one there.
And it's also, in some ways, hockey purists will tell you that there is no fighting in Olympic hockey. You will not see fighting happen in it's a very rare thing to see that happen in Olympic hockey.
Oh, well, then I gotta go with cross country.
There it is. I just want to
more violence in cross country.
Yeah.
With swords.
Yeah.
Nia, now that we've heard that sad news about hockey fighting, what about ski jumping versus speed skating? No swords. I'm sorry, just regular arms. But...
just even regular. Both of these sports are incredibly awesome. This is very hard for me. I am a fan of just the Olympics. Like, I get the majority of my sports watching in every 2 years. It used to be every 4 years, and I'm a bit of a purist. I still think that the Olympics should be every 4 years, and it shouldn't have been split up. But it is nice to have Olympics every 2 years. That being said, it's hard for me to pick because I just love them all. So I had to think, what is it really for me that makes an Olympic sport, like just puts it over the top over other sports? So first of all, number one, will I get up in the middle of the night to watch it? Ooh. That's very important because I will, and I have, and I will starting next week, get up in the middle of the night to watch certain sports. Also, what is the possibility of death on a scale of 1 to 5? Because the greater the possibility of death, the more interesting it is. Then there's whether or not is it really cool or is it really athletic? Now, if it's both, well, then that's a win-win right there. But if it's more athletic, like speed skating, which that's a lot of training, or curling, which is really cool. And not to say that curling doesn't take a lot of training. Curlers, please do not email me. I don't want to hear from you. I love you guys. Give it a rest. But which one, like, does the coolness of curling overshadow the athleticism of something like speed skating. That's the kind of thing that I have to think about. For these two specifically, the ski jump has long been one of my favorite. The way you have to almost fold yourself in half with the skis and you literally fly through the air with arms back, the way that we used to do when, like, imagine it when we would run as children. Speed skating is, first of all, speed skating is actually an older sport than the ski jump. Ski jump goes back to about the 18th century. Speed skating, it can be traced back to roughly the 13th century in the Netherlands.
Okay.
And it was used as a means for delivering messages back and forth between towns. So which one is the best for me? Honestly, I love the ski jump, but man, the thighs on those speed skaters, they get me every single time.
Dan
That's what
Jansen.
all that comes down to. Thighs.
Those
Look
big
at those
thighs.
thighs.
Yeah. Excellent. I think yeah, it's such, I like your point, Nia, about the drama of ski jumping. You know, it's just so, it's artistic in a different way.
It's like
I was
an
watching-
aerial ballet.
And I was watching some, and the first one that I watched, he just like, you couldn't even see where he hit the ground. He just like was all of a sudden, oh, now you're on the ground. It was so like, so smooth. Oh, mwah.
Incredible. Well, it's about time for our first set of votes. So audience, get your devices out, same link as before. And we're going to go through these 4 votes. We'll probably leave the voting open for each matchup about 30 seconds. There's a little bit of delay, so we'll try to make sure we can get everyone in. But I'm going to make sure you're ready, because we're going to start with singles figure skating versus doubles figure skating. Let's see. Oh, wait.
See, I think what Nia was saying really kind of proved my point, which is all of this historic was things that were important. Curling is just curling. Curling exists for curling, and it is its own.
But what's ski
Can you
jumping?
imagine though that curlers, at least the Bruins, have very strong backers.
Very strong. Oh,
This is close. This is so close.
Fight.
Doubles also has romance.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You spend a lot of time asking yourself, are they really a couple?
Found
if they
myself
are-
Googling.
Were they a couple before? Were they a couple after? Were they a couple during? And then never
Right.
again? Like, what's the what?
Are they still together? Why did they break up?
Will they be
That's-
together if one of them falls? Like would you hold, like,
Is
I
it
know that
over?
if I would fall and my wife she'd leave me. If I cost her a medal, she'd probably be like, you're a loser now, and it was your fault, and
I
I'm
think-
moving on to a winner.
Jason, I'm sorry to mock or interrupt your very sad story about your marriage, but we're going to call it for doubles skating and move to the next matchup, which is curling versus bobsleigh.
Bobsled.
Bobsleigh.
I feel like we're going to have plenty of opportunity to vote for a fast thing down a icy tube trail. So
Yeah, I
I'm
think
not
it's
that bobsled doesn't move on.
yeah. I
Gotta be
kind of
curling.
like.
Oh my God! Oh no!
Oh no!
What is happening?
Oh,
here?
you said we were gonna get our hearts broken, no matter what wins here. My
It's
heart
true, Jeremiah.
matter, right?
You know.
Oh, it's
yeah.
not coming back.
Oh.
Bobsled.
No.
Oh,
Oh no!
Wait! Come on,
Curling-
curling!
Is
You're
curling
coming
fighting
back.
back?
No.
Oh no! Come on!
No. I mean, this is what's right. This is right. You know, this
No.
is right.
I mean,
Right.
yeah, we're going to call it. No more
bed.
votes coming in on that one.
I
Sorry,
mean,
curling.
I
mean,
swear,
look,
I'm gonna.
nice
I'm
try
gonna
there.
Be harder to fall asleep.
Ice hockey versus cross country skiing. Which is
I
the
will-
better Olympic event?
I will tell you, Melanie already drugged me on her Instagram story for not going. And I love cross country skiing, Mel, but I live vicariously through your posts. Maybe we could go together and you could teach me the joy of it. I would gladly go and do it with you.
How long is cross country skiing? Like from start to finish, how long would it take a person?
Well, you go from one coast to the next. You have to cross the entire country. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
Really.
It's crazy. Yeah. I don't know how long a horse is. I just know how long I would last.
Right.
Yeah.
The problem is it's an out and back, I think, is the problem.
Yeah.
So
You just
it's
can't-
twice as
you
far
just-
as you go in one direction.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Ice hockey's just a beast. I mean, this first
Yeah.
round, I mean,
So
and
ice
especially when I'm
hockey's gonna
talking.
move on, but don't
I'm
worry,
talking-
we still have a
yeah.
chance for the cross country skiing family in the second half of the first round here. Okay, ski jumping versus speed skating.
This one's tough.
I'm good either way here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
I'm good
I mean,
either way.
I have a slight. The moment I was going to say I slightly want to go more for speed skating was whenever it took a dip in the holes, but
It's getting slogged right now, so you could just
slaughtered.
speaking.
Okay,
on
here's
it. Yeah.
here's my plan, Jason. My
Oh,
plan
it's coming
now
back.
is my plan for the rest of this night is the one I want to lose will be the one I will endorse, and I will try to like anti-charisma that to the end of the show.
Anti-charisma. Okay, yeah, I don't think we're coming back
That's
from
it.
this. Ski jumping wins against
no.
skiing. So we'll update the bracket and get ready for the next round, but we've got to finish the first round. We're still talking about the second half of the bracket here in the first round. So we're still, talking about a matchup at a time and kind of hitting the high points of each event. So Jeremiah, I'm coming to you now for alpine skiing versus biathlon, which is of course cross country skiing plus target shooting.
Right. Man, I
What do you think?
really thought curling was going to make it to the end, and it's out in the first round. So let's
It's
try
It's
this.
gone, Jeremiah. It's happened.
So I have alpine skiing versus biathlon. Everything that we've said beforehand still pretty much applies. But let's start with alpine skiing because, in simplest terms, alpine skiing refers to the just downhill ski races at the Olympics. But it's not one specific event. It's kind of like an umbrella term that goes over 11 different competitions. As you can imagine, you have just the regular straight one down for speed, where you can get up to 95 miles per hour on like a 2.5-inch wide stick. It's terrifying. Again, we're going back to the idea that Winter Olympics mean danger, and I love that. And then the second half, the slalom, which I'm pretty sure I'm mispronouncing, is the obstacles section where you get to do the exact same thing, but now there's stuff in your way that you have to avoid. There's flags, there's obstacles. This actually has probably the most life-altering injuries like with that, because human knee joints are not designed to shift as sharply or as quickly as you're supposed to get around those gates at 90 miles per hour. It's terrifying. However, as we've described before, we have the biathlon, where if that doesn't excite you enough, what we've already talked about, I mean, it's skiing plus guns. It's the most James Bond thing in the world, specifically the Roger Moore James Bonds, if we're going to be specific, and I am. It's cross-country skiing, but it's also sectioned off with rounds of shooting. Here's something I did not know until I researched this. You have to keep the gun on you the entire time. You're not supposed to actually ski to a section and then pick up a gun that's already there. You have to ski the entire time with a rifle strapped to you. And then whenever you get there, like set up, fire, and then get back onto your ski and keep going. It's crazy. That detail alone is amazing. Nothing else, everything else is just like speed, and everything else you have to do wind shear, and you have your helmets are shaped that way. But you still have to go as fast as possible with this, with a rifle that you are then going to have to shoot as soon as you get to your area. That is absurd. That's super cool. Alpine skiing, totally great. totally tremendous, totally dangerous. Biathlon is where I'm going, which means I'm going to say actually alpine skiing, because I want biathlon to win. So I'm going to endorse alpine skiing and cover my bases.
It's hard to get behind biathlon only because I learned that there used to be different events within biathlon, and one of them was downhill skiing while shooting, which, knowing that that was an option, makes it kind of hard to get on board with the standstill shooting. I mean, I'd much rather see people,
I think it's kind of self-explanatory why that's not
well
anymore. Sure. Someone died.
I can just see the old school biathlon folks that did it down. They're like, these kids today don't know nothing about the way it used to be. I had to go down the hill, Frick Park, while shooting at the Cathedral of Learning. That's how I practiced.
Well, it's definitely harder. I mean, if you think about the James Bond movies that I recommended, all those people while skiing, while shooting at him, not a single person makes a shot. Nobody shoots James Bond. That's all because they're bad at the biathlon. They should have been training.
Oh, man.
Yeah, for me, that's a toss-up. Either way it goes, I feel good.
All right. Well, I want the biathlon to win, which means I'm endorsing alpine skiing.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I think Katie's talking, but we can't hear her.
She might be muted.
I was talking. Thank you.
Yes.
Jason. I was like, wow, Jeremiah talked right over me.
Oh,
Yeah, but I'll do that.
Technology.
You know, Katie, the reason why that matchup Jeremiah just talked about, it's a toss up. It doesn't matter because they're about to get slogged by whoever comes out of my round. Okay, let's get real for a second. The fact that these two things. Thank you to Bracket Night headquarters for putting these two together in the first round, because it would have been brutal to see them come out of two different regions. The luge and the skeleton, like how they're so amazing. Like this, to Nia's point, I will set an alarm to watch this action. And it is unbelievable to me to watch what these folks go and put themselves to go down this hill and do this in. And you know what? You look at it, and again, the everyman sport, right? It attracts them because there is somebody that's sitting in Blanox watching the luge, talking about how they used to go sled riding on the old sleds that had the rails in that, right? And he talks about the story about how he crossed over Babcock and he ran into the front of the Kogos back in '87. He feels he can do it, but he can't. This is so brutal. This is so unbelievable to watch. And what's interesting is one of the things that, basically we take the luge and we flip you, and now we're going to call it the skeleton. Why are we calling it the skeleton? Well, I went and did some research. It's because the chance of you becoming dead and becoming a skeleton is why it's been called that. You can fact check me, and it's wrong if it disagrees. So the luge,
we don't fact check here.
The luge was created in 1883 in St. Moritz, Switzerland. And then in 1884 is when they were like, let's flip them. 1 year later, the luge only existed for 1 year and was already being copied. The luge is the rightful one to move on. It's hard, but it is the bigger sibling to the skeleton.
Okay. All right. That's amazing.
I rest my case.
Yeah.
Excellent.
An excellent
That's a
point.
good case.
I
kind of also think about like when I'm just imagining doing these things, because that's all it's ever going to happen is just imagining the luge, the like having to, it's hard to show this while I'm vertical, but like they have to keep their head up. So they're kind of probably engaging their whole core just to like keep their head up while they do it. The skeleton, they also sort of have to keep their head up, but it just seems more, relaxed.
No
Yeah, the
airplane
skeleton
info.
definitely seems a lot easier, more for lazy people.
I like the point that was brought up that every single one of these events, like it kind of describes like what it is, and it's like, well, curling, you curl, figure skating, you skate with your figure, and everything else. And the luge, you can kind of get an idea. The luge is you do that. Skeleton is just the most metal, like it doesn't really even describe what it is. It's just, you might as well just call it death. Like, coming up next in the Winter Olympics, death. It's
I will
dangerous.
say that I will say I'm glad we're not fact checking, but I do want to see, was it named called figure skating because you're using your figure, or is it because you would do figure eight? I'm totally down because I'm full figured, so I'm a gold medalist.
There it is.
Okay,
just skate with it, and you're figure skating.
Jeremiah, I love you.
You skate with your figure.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
Nia, I'm coming to
Yes.
you now. Nia, snowboarding, these are two snowboarding events, the half pipe or the cross.
So both of these events have the honor of being the two youngest events in this entire bracket. The snowboard cross is the youngest of the two. That's only been in Olympic sports since it was either 04 or 06.
Okay.
I think it had to be 04 because that's before they went. Nope, 2000 is when they went 2-2. So it was 04 or 06. The snowboard cross is that it almost kind of looks like, do you know the burlap sack slides that they have at amusement parks that go like this? That's what the snowboard cross is. Some nicknames for the snowboard cross are Border Cross, Border X, Snowboard X, SBX, and BX. And that is the coolest thing about the snowboard cross, because the snowboard half pipe, it originally started when they would dig a ditch into the side of a mountain before they actually started building purpose-built ramps. But you, again, get a chance to fly and flip around and do all kinds of stuff. It also gave us Shaun the Tomato White, which was great until it wasn't. So I mean, tricks and more tricks. So I gotta go with the snowboard half pipe.
Yes. I'm so glad, Nia. If you wouldn't have said the half pipe, I would have been like, oh my goodness. Like, you're right. I mean, some of my fondest memories of watching the Olympics was when snowboarding and sort of the Winter X crossover happened, which was beautiful because my family, we like to watch the Winter X Games, which then led my son to becoming a freestyle skier, where he was like going off of ramps and down rails, and it was pretty amazing. But our whole family celebrating Shaun White, that last run, and they've got to score the perfect thing, and they know he's bringing like whatever rotation 978 whatever, and he nails it. Like, that's the Olympic. That's just like, you jump out of your seat to see someone do that. And I love the X Game crossovers into the Olympics. So for all the purists out there, please watch this. I think the half pipe can make a run here in this bracket.
Yeah,
it's high drama. That's absolutely correct. Yeah.
Right. I'm not getting up in the middle of the night to watch the snowboard cross. I will get up in the middle of the night to watch the half pipe.
I used to play a lot of the SX video games for snowboarding and such. I don't see any I was going to say any ice hockey because it was the first thing that I looked at, video games, but I very much see ice hockey video games. There's no ski video games. There's no luge or anything.
Well,
there are, I think.
You've got to go back. You got to go back to the early 8-bit Nintendos. There was track and
the
field,
Atari.
And then they had the Winter Olympics. But you're right. There should be.
Yeah.
I forgot about the ColecoVision curling game. That's on me.
So good.
I'm just going to set a timer, Jeremiah, and see how long you go without saying curling.
I'm going to be mad. I'm going to be mad this whole time.
All right, Kristen, last one before our vote. Last matchup here in the first round. Freestyle skiing aerials versus freestyle skiing moguls. So Jason just mentioned freestyle skiing. Which of these is better? And what are they? Can you tell
I
us?
think these two are really fun. I think aerials is more fun, but they're both pretty awesome. So either way, and I could have brought this up with ski jumping, although I don't know the statistics, but I looked up the mountain that they go down is 28 degrees slope, I think, which like if this is 90 and this is 45, we're at like maybe here. So they're falling. They're barely touching the earth while they fall down this course. So I'm exaggerating if we don't know the actual events. Moguls first starts, they come down the mountain and there's these little like snow bumps that they have to they're really close together and they have to basically levitate, but also their knees, just watching the knees is so painful, but they basically just have to like take all of the shock of these moguls, I guess is what they are. And then there's two like little ramps that they do a flip on. I believe it's also timed, which I sort of could care less about because again, it's like the spectacle, it's the entertainment, it's the wow factor for me. Moguls is great. It's cool. Aerials is where it's at for me though. They come down. Now this is a smooth ramp and it shoots them straight up into the air. Somehow they don't come down and smack the ramp that they just came off of. They shoot into the air and then do like an Olympic or a gymnastics thing and then land, hopefully without careening over themselves. It's like gymnastics, it's like the ski jumping, and it's like high dive all together. It's super fun to watch, high skill. When they land awesome, it's really exciting, but there's also that moment of like, oh, are they gonna maybe kind of wipe out? Because that could be a little bit exciting too. So again, the danger, showmanship, entertainment, love it.
So is that your vote, Kristen?
Oh yeah,
Aerials over the moguls.
Aerials.
Yeah,
For sure.
that sounds awesome.
My knees could handle a vote for moguls.
Yeah, I recently went downhill skiing for the first time in my life, basically this week, and it was a disaster. It was a fun disaster, but any hill that was like more than a 10-degree incline, I was literally screaming. It was a very like small, like kind of a community hill where no one was yelling about being scared of skiing except for me, and I kept falling down. I fell on my butt, I fell on my face.
Oh.
But you know what? I'm going to try again because it's actually really fun. So I think I appreciate Jason's point earlier about like Winter Olympic sports are things that like a lot of them are things that anyone can try, but I didn't do any aerial tricks was my point of telling that story. Not yet anyway, but it is time to vote.
Oh, sorry.
But that's okay, Jeremiah. What were you going to say?
I liked your description because it's actually similar to like what I had on Tinder for a little while, which was it's a disaster, but it was a fun disaster.
Pretty good. It's not bad, actually. It's not bad.
It's okay. Once you get used to it.
I'll try it again. Cool. So let's go ahead and vote. We're going to get the poll back up. So everyone grab your devices because we're going to vote through these 4 matchups. The first one is alpine skiing, which, as Jeremiah reminded us, has all kinds of downhill, or the biathlon, which is the cross country and marksmanship together.
I'll remind you that I want the biathlon to win, so I'm going to support alpine skiing.
I'm pretty stunned, to be honest, that biathlon is even doing this. Oh.
Is doing this well?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I
feel like some of my friends that are playing as watching at home right now are voting for it out of spite for me.
Jeremiah has a lot of friends in the NRA, so they're sort of tipping the scales on this one.
So close. Well, it was. It's getting
Oh
less
yeah,
close.
do we have to disclose our donors for on the show? It's
No, we don't. We good.
oh wow.
Oh,
Wow.
another one came in for alpine skiing. Yeah, this looks. I don't think we're coming back. That's about all we've been expecting.
Oh no, that's
we're gonna
going up.
call it. We're gonna call it for alpine skiing here and move to the next, which is the luge versus the skeleton. Feet first, head first. Core strength or laziness.
Oh wow.
Choose the way you want to die, folks.
If anything comes out of this bracket, I want everyone to know that I think skeleton athletes are lazy.
Or lazy.
I'm gonna.
I think they actually might just be drunk. 'Cause that's how I feel like that's how that ended up happening.
That's how it got invented.
I
They
did
went
skeleton.
to luge.
Some drunk guy went on his luge face first.
Yeah,
Yeah, they went to
the
luge
year after
practice.
they started luge, they were like, no, you have to face the other way. And he went, and then he just went.
I'm
late.
telling you, it was luge practice. Sven got hammered. Just fell face first. He just right down the thing, and they're like, "Holy heck, that's
Do
the
it
new
again."
sport. That's the new sport."
It's a new sport, but it's
The
not
quote
moving
that
on.
created
This will be
it.
the end of skeleton for us. We're gonna go to the next
Abomination. It's a
matchup.
great
The
sport.
quote that created it was, "Yeah, I bet I could," and that was.
Snowboard
This one's
half
gonna be a
pit versus
this one's
snowboard
gonna be a
cross.
blowout.
I think
Yeah.
so.
It's gonna be a
too.
blowout.
Wow, look at this.
As well, it
Nobody for
should.
cross.
Yeah.
Voting's
nobody.
happening.
Oh,
Oh,
That's
I
a
feel that
goon
was
vote
a-
if
I
ever
feel-
I've
I
seen
feel
one.
Snowboard
I feel that was a
crosser
Robin
out there.
Hitchcock vote. I think
Oh.
Robin Hitchcock was like, I feel bad for snowboard cross. I want to give them at least one vote.
snowboard cross is just only getting this far because of Catholic guilt. Like I know, I personally saw the word cross. I was like, I can't go past. I gotta. The only reason why it didn't even got this.
I feel like if there were any like the spirit of the athletes that we're voting for, like the snowboard people are like, it's cool, man. Go
Yeah,
however
it's
you
cool.
want.
That's true. They're chill. All right, so last one: freestyle skiing, aerials versus moguls.
I'm gonna go with
Do you
aerial.
like more flips or do you like strong knees?
Oh, the knees.
Well,
Whew.
I'm with you, Kristen. Just watching it, my knees are like.
Yeah, I just watched it like this.
It hurts. It's like.
Although I will
it's an
say,
empathy sport.
based off the sounds you just made, the sound engineers of the Olympics really know what they're doing because every event is like, or like, some other snowy, icy sounds. It's great.
Mhm.
That's true. Yeah, aerials is blowing this one out as well. You can keep voting at home, but we're gonna call it for aerials because it's not close for moguls.
I want to go for moguls right now. Everybody refresh your page. Just do it. Let's just see what happens. Just
No,
go
you
for
only get
moguls.
one vote. Only one vote.
We'll
One
play another
device,
round
one
before
vote.
we
If you have
get
more
it.
than one device, we can't stop you. We're not
Yeah.
policing at that level.
This one's done.
Yeah.
All right.
Download a VPN and vote for
Now
moguls.
it's time to now it's time to get into the nitty gritty.
All right. So that round one is
right.
over. All right. Great job, everyone. So we're gonna get moving right into round two here. Last round, we had the panelists kind of talk about what they liked about the sports. We got a lot of research. I want to thank you, panelists, for all the research you did coming into this bracket. The history, most of it seemed real. Only some of it seemed to be made up, and that seems about the right balance, in my opinion. So that was great. But in this round, we want to, we got to look at the whole story of these events. So now the panelists are going to tell us why each of these events is not the best one and shouldn't continue moving forward through the matchup. So I'm going to start with Jason and figure skating, doubles figure skating. Jason, tell us why this should be the end of the road for the cutting edge.
This is tough. This is tough. This is a favorite event of mine. It really is. But I see where it's headed. Right. I pick winners. Okay. I pick winners. Okay. It's good. I'm not going to saddle up to doubles. Because it's about to get slaughtered. I mean, here's the deal. Like I told you earlier, I don't trust judges. There's too much work that gets put in by these amazing athletes for somebody sitting there with a I'm not swearing tonight, but they're taking dreams away from these athletes. And I gotta say, they've got axe to grind. They got axe to grind, and there's too much allowing corruption. That's why I just cannot allow this to go any further. And that's why it doubles. I love it. I love them as athletes. They just need to fix the way that they score it. Get these judges out of the way.
Yeah. Too subjective.
Yeah.
No, that's it.
Too subjective. Well, I remember this one's, I don't know if my mom's watching tonight, but in like the 1984 Olympics, there was an ice dancing pair, Torval and Dean from England, I believe.
Yes.
And at the end of their ice dancing routine to a song called Bolero, they died. Like they dramatically like fell on the ice as if they had died at the end. And it was like revolutionary at the time. But then everyone else started dying at the end of their routines, so much so that you're not allowed to do that in regulation ice dancing anymore. Because as talented as these people are, and I do not deny their athleticism, they're not that creative. I said it.
There you go.
The same energy as them banning dabbing from a high school. Just like, no.
I'm glad that you clarified, Katie, that they did not actually die, because I seen Jeremiah kind of gasped. Like he was not sure.
Sorry, they dramatically died.
And the Russian judge didn't give them the points they deserved, and they got the bronze. It was both.
Well, it was the Russian judge.
Well, it was the cold.
Always the Russian.
Nia.
Yes.
Tell us why you believe that bobsledding has hit the end here. Should not move on to the next round.
At the end. Oof.
Number one, Jason is wrong, because Jason is wrong about figure skating. Number two, do they even televise bobsledding anymore? Nobody watches it. We don't even call it by its actual name. It gets disrespected by everyone and called by what we want to call it. No, but it's I feel like the only reason bobsledding or bobsleigh is still in the Olympics is purely for nostalgia's sake. When I think about it, I think lederhosen, I think wooden, like a wooden track and a wooden contraption that if it hits a rock and goes off, that whole thing is splintering apart, and now you got to walk wherever you were going. Bob, like, it should never have beat curling, and I think again, people gripping onto nostalgia is the reason that is the only reason that it won over curling. If bobsled wins over figure skating, doubles figure skating, come on. There is a very apparent winner here, and it is not bobsled.
I agree.
This is Jeremiah. Hold on a second. This is so hard for me because this is my partner. Like Nia.
Oh no, we're head to head right now, James.
I know. So I wasn't fully prepared for how I was going to be mad at you.
Oh, that's right. You've never played this against me before.
No, I'm like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Back up Nia a little bit, because I mentioned pool runnings for bobsledding, and that's the most like popular culture version of bobsledding that exists. It ends with them not even finishing their run. So you're absolutely correct. If you guys remember the end of Cool Runnings, something happens with the bobsled and it wrecks, and then they have to just get up and walk to the end of it.
They carry
it. Hold on.
Wait a second.
If it was,
how do I get to talk? How do I get to talk? Is this not my round to talk? Like this is me and Jeremiah. Everything is about Cool Runnings, so I'll stay on that. Name another one of these events that Jamaica wanted to do bobsled. That tells you
Jamaica does a lot of things quite well. This was the equivalent of those rich people that buy the way that claim that they're from some small island nation and buy their way into the Olympics. Bobsled, get it out of here. What athleticism do you need for bobsleigh except a little bit of running? And I dare any of those people to try to run track. I dare them. They're not going to win. They're not
Let's
even
do
going
that
to
together.
Come on, let's be
Panelists,
honest.
panelists. One of the most important things that you need to do when you're bobsledding is the synchronized. Let's all go together and see if we can
we
do
all
this.
do that together right now?
Oh, let's pretend that we're going 185,000 miles an hour down the side of a mountain on a sheet of ice. Sweet Lord, Neo, we're going to fight in the office tomorrow.
That is the same
Bring it
athleticism that it takes to do the opening to the Partridge Family. You just all
Oh my God, this guy.
Right. But
Oh my goodness. All right, I'm calling it. No more bobs.
I love you, Nia.
Jeremiah.
I'm tired.
You know I'm right.
That's why ice hockey is not the best Winter Olympic event.
I can't wait to make Jason even more mad because Jason, I got to tell you something, buddy. The reason why we talk about the miracle on ice with ice hockey is because Olympic ice hockey is essentially the Cold War. It's all posturing without any of the fights. If you're not, half of the reason why you're going to see hockey is because you want to see some knuckles bruise, and you're not getting that in Olympic ice hockey. Same thing with the Cold War. You're going in and you're like, oh, we're going to win, I swear. Not a single thing being thrown. Not because I wanted to. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad that war never went to fruition. However, ice hockey is just the Olympic version of it almost is kind of a neutered version. You have like the rules in place. You have everything that you're supposed to do for the game. It's essentially you're watching adults play the little league version of hockey. Let's not touch each other. Let's be careful. Let's do the rules. You know how this is. Craig, you're being a little aggressive out there, buddy. Sit down and have an orange slice. Except doing this with adults, it's ridiculous. I'm watching hockey with adults because I want to see someone get slammed. I want to see faces up against plexiglass. I want to see gloves being thrown off between countries even. If you think state rivalries are amazing, I just want to see somebody from Barbados lay into somebody from Spain. Like, that's amazing, but we're not going to get that. And so therefore, ski jumping, cool. That's something you can only really do in winter. Ice hockey, you can do that indoors any time of the year and still fight someone. So I'm going to go ahead and say down with ice hockey, up with ski jumping, because that's literally the directions that they go.
I want to qualify something with Katie. Am I allowed to now argue against him since I'm not in this?
No, you want to say we're.
Can I just say one thing, please? If I don't get to say this to the masses, I'm going to lose
buddy.
my
You get it. You get
ever-living mind. In 2010, I turned against my country for ice hockey. Sidney Crosby scored the golden goal in 2010. I was at a corporate meeting in Bentonville, Arkansas, with a bunch of people cheering for Team USA. And when Sidney Crosby scored that goal, I jumped out of my seat and was like, Pittsburgh, baby! And I was rooting for Canada. So I don't like to see the fights. I like to see the skill. So you voted for curling. We should put fighting in curling.
We should put fighting in curling.
Katie, thank you. Katie, thank you for
we
allowing
agree.
me to get
Well,
that
I
off
just
my
want to say, though, I'm going to add a negative argument here real quick, Jason, on top of what you just said, which is, why do we need Olympic hockey when we have NHL hockey? Like, when you have NHL players playing for 16 different countries and it's all just professional athletes anyway. I mean, I understand they want to represent their country, but that's not an Olympic sport anymore. It doesn't need to be here. But Kristen, you tell us why ski jumping is not a good Winter Olympic sport.
So of all of the going fast down stuff, I think ski jumping is probably like the least exciting of them, because much like the moguls and aerials, it is also falling, pretty much free falling down a mountain. You might be touching the ground a little bit, but your gravity is doing a lot of the work for you. Also, to Nia's point earlier about snowboarding being the newest sport, I'm going to say a half truth. because up until 2014, women were not allowed to ski jump. Women's ski jumping was not a thing in the Olympics until 2014. Like, does gravity work differently on women than men? Like, all it is you're crouched down, and then you like shoot your legs up to jump, and then you just try to land. Like, what? How does the gender have anything to do with that? So major marks against ski jumping for that. It's stupid. Also, this is not a positive or a negative, but I watched a training video, and basically to train, they stand on a chair in front of their coach, and the coach, like dirty dancing, like catches and lifts them. It was kind of charming.
Kristen, we're trying to have negative arguments right now. That
Yeah,
sounds awesome.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, back to negative arguments. Nia,
Yes.
alpine skiing sucks.
You
You've
know
been saying for
why?
years that you think skiing is dumb. Tell everybody why.
I think that out of all of the sports listed on here, this is the most recognizably elitist sport that we have. Who, like, you have to have money, you have to come from a certain ilk, if you will, to be accepted into alpine skiing. Have you ever heard of an alpine skiing rebel? No, you have not, because they gatekeep that sport like nobody's business. So down with alpine skiing. Like luge, you can go out there and lay down and do your thing. Alpine skiing, you need a whole lot of, like, you need skis, you need gloves, you need ski boots, you need like a ski suit, you need a lift pass, you need somebody to drive you to the mountain. Maybe they even make fake snow, and there's probably a lodge. And you know what? Biff and Bunny are not going to be happy to see you if they don't recognize you from boarding school. They don't care about you. So I don't like alpine skiing because it's a waste. Screw it.
Nia,
Yes.
I did the research for alpine skiing, and I want to point out that you're correct. It's so gatekeepy that there are literal gates in alpine skiing. That's half of what's going on here. Is they added gates into a gatekeeping sport
to keep us, the unwashed masses, out. So what I'm essentially saying is that we all need to bum rush the mountains and just really, we need to reverse gentrify alpine skiing. That's what we need to do.
And we need to get bum rush back into our daily lexicon. Like, I love the word bum rush, Nia. Thank you for bringing that
You're
back.
welcome.
Public Enemy, Bum Rush the Show. Amazing album. All right, here we go.
All right, Kristen, tell us about why. I mean, earlier you were telling us how lazy skeleton athletes are. What do you hate about lugers?
You know what?
Luges?
They're not much more active. It's still laying. You know, it's still laying on a thing that does a lot of the work for you. I will say, of all the downhill fast things, this one's the most stressful to me. I just kind of watch like, what's happening? They seem like they're completely at the mercy of physics, and that just gives me anxiety. But that's a very personal take. Luge is obviously very awesome.
Well, except it sucks because this is the negative.
Sure.
It's awesome, but it shouldn't move forward, or maybe it should. It'll be up to the audience. Jason, tell us about, despite your earlier, you had good things to say, but now you've had a change of heart, and you think that the snowboarding half pipe is awful and stupid.
Yeah, I mean all that stuff,
alarm.
all that stuff I said an hour and 15 minutes ago. The half pipe, it's a ripoff. It's not original. Okay, let's be real. Okay, Tony Hawk was doing this stuff way earlier than this, and all they did was cover it with snow. I mean, please. I mean, Shaun White went from skateboarding to being the best in the world at this. Come on, folks. That just doesn't work for me. Half pipe, whatever. It's gonna get taken out in the next round. I do love it, but not that much. Please.
Well, and there are judges in that too, aren't there?
Yeah, there are judges in that. And that's the other thing that sort of messes with me. You know, it's just, again, I will continue to go back to that until we figure that out. Like maybe some sensors, maybe cover their bodies in sensors and where they land, and their technology's there. Jeremiah was telling me about it during the pre-show, so I mean, it can happen.
I believe it. Well, Jeremiah, why do you think that the freestyle skiing aerials is the worst, or at least maybe not the worst, but at least not the best Winter Olympic?
I can very easily do that because it's out of date. It's probably one of the oldest things that's here on the map. I don't feel like looking it up because I think who I believe I'm the most canonically young person out of this entire group, so I don't need to look it up because I've already decided that it's old. Because everything that free ski aerials is supposed to do was perfected with snowboarding half pipe. Honestly, free ski aerials are, you go down in one direction, you go up, and you just kind of like flop yourself over and throw yourself around like a rag doll, and then hope you land enough for Lithuania to give you a 6. Snowboard half pipe, you're going back and forth. You have consistent, amazing timing that you can have to do many, many tricks. You get one shot with skis. You go down, you go up, you have that one time to do it, and that's it. I'm talking about marketability. I'm talking about many, many options, many, many times to be able to do that. Building excitement instead of it just being like jump and okay, I'm done. That's boring. And there's 2 of them. You have 2 of them strapped to your feet? No. What's wrong with one? What's wrong with just one? Just one. Just snowboard. Snowboard half pipe solved everything that sucks about free ski aerials and turned into a marketable product that gave me a really cool, like, sports fathead to put on my wall. You can't see, but on the other side of this camera, I've got one of those big head wall decorations that's just Shaun White like doing a trick over top of my bed, and nobody else has that. Nobody has one of those of a free ski aerial. Nobody cares.
I'm gonna say I don't believe you have it unless we see it.
I would also like to note that it appeared that Jeremiah just dabbed.
He did.
No,
That's
Okay,
it.
my legs were
right?
up.
Did we see him do that? Like, he did that. So think about who your loyalties lie with, viewers. Jeremiah's out here dabbing on a Thursday night. It's 14 degrees outside.
All right, it's time to vote again. So we've got 4 matchups to vote through. So get your phones out, everyone, and we're going to get this from 8 down to 4, starting with doubles figure skating versus bobsleigh or bobsled.
No brainer.
Okay.
Whoa! Come some bobsled votes.
Nia, just so you know,
wow!
I'm all doubles. I'm all doubles here.
Oh wait,
I
I'm
was in
trying to
doubles.
figure out how to engineer how my endorsement ruins voting. So if I want doubles to win, but maybe I'm lying and just saying that right now because I want bobsled to win, unless that's actually me kind of playing 4D chess, and I'm trying to convince you to vote for bobsled.
So many mind games.
It's really tricky, Jeremiah, but I don't think it's going to work. Doubles figure skating is going to move on to the final 4.
Yes, it's what I wanted.
Oh, good, because get ready, buddy. That's yours for the next round. Okay, ice hockey versus ski jumping. Ice hockey versus...
This is the big surprise.
Good.
Wow.
Oh,
It's
no
right.
fights, no bites.
It's right. It's right. I think the argument that really made people think, it's the idea of like, we have the NHL. We don't need the professionals. Let it be amateurs. I agree.
Yep.
I think it should be.
It's kind of the same thing with what I said with the snowboarding. It's like at one point, one side of it already perfected it, while still doing the other.
I was watching some event and it's like, yeah, snowboarding and ice hockey, like career athletes. There was another event where they were like, so-and-so getting ready, police officer from blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh yeah, like some people just do this as a hobby.
Right.
Yeah.
Next up, alpine skiing versus luge. This is tough.
Come on.
I don't think it's
Nah, it's not tough. I mean, it's not tough. Come on, it's luge.
Yeah.
It's luge.
It's
A
luge.
lot of people are Googling alpine skiing right now to figure out what the hell it is.
And it's gatekeeping.
Downhill
It's
skiing.
got gates.
Yeah, I think
Sometimes
it
there's
was.
gates.
I dipped into the YouTube chat real quick, and Sarah Morgan's a little concerned because now she doesn't know if she should vote for classism or equal rights.
I mean, equal rights every time.
Although I will say, apparently somebody had to get a new luge, and it was $80,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think it's cheap to learn to luge.
Oh.
Not
you just
expensive.
you just
But-
wax
You get a
up an
cookie
old
cheap
piece of
today.
metal and you go down the hill. It ain't that expensive.
There's a lot of training you can do before you get on the official track in Lake Placid. Okay, we're gonna go now to our last one in the negative round: the snowboard half pipe or freestyle skiing aerials.
Gotta go with the cool
Whoa.
kids.
go.
Gotta go with the cool
See,
kids. Here it
I
is.
thought the same
My
argument would
baby.
apply.
Oh, look at this.
Oh.
Just beating it with a bat like Negan. Oh.
Oh, that is mean.
Oh.
So I had a fun fact that I was going to use if arrows went along. To train when it's not snowy, they go off the jump into a swimming pool.
Oh,
They can do their little flip and then just splash in the pool. Go swimming.
that's fun.
That seems like a fun summer event. Why not just
Yes.
like freestyle swimming where you have skis on your feet?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Maybe it's coming. All right. Snowboard half pipe takes it over freestyle skiing aerials.
Sounds about right.
All right, we've got our final four.
Yeah.
Final four are doubles figure skating, ski jumping, the luge, and the snowboard half pipe. So that's pretty good. We've got the different types of events represented here in our final four very well. We're going to give our panelists a minute to prepare their arguments for round three. And while we do that, I want to just do a couple of quick thanks and promotions to our audience. Thanks again, all of you, for being here. We hope you're having a good time. We're certainly obvious. I think it's obvious we're having a good time. I've never thought so much about these sports, that's for sure. But as I mentioned at the top of the show, if you are interested in following along with Bracket Night, we have voting throughout the weeks on our Instagram account at bracket_night, where we promote upcoming events, both at the Arcade Comedy Theater and other places. We do voting around different topics. Sometimes we do play-in votes for upcoming brackets. So please do follow us there at bracket_night. Also, please follow Arcade Comedy at Arcade Comedy on Instagram and other social media to find out all the great things happening at Arcade, Pittsburgh's home for all things comedy. Arcade is also a nonprofit comedy theater that's been working really hard to keep the community connected through the pandemic. And so if you are inclined, there's a link in the YouTube description where you can just drop it in, donate a couple of bucks to Arcade. We'd love to see it. Of course, no tickets tonight. This is free for everyone, but if you've got a few bones to throw at Arcade, we would love to help them continue to support comedy and the art of comedy here in Pittsburgh. So I know we've already had a lot of heartbreak tonight among the among the missing events, and we welcome you if you want to put in the chat anything that you wished you had seen, you wished we had gotten further in the bracket. By all means do that. But I'm happy with this final four. We've got two more rounds, so we're going to go 4 and then 2 and then we're done. So we're halfway through the bracket, but way more than halfway through the show. So please stick around with us as we get down to 1. So we're going to move into our round 3. And what's going to happen in round 3 is that we've asked our panel to talk about kind of the things everyone knows about these sports, what's good and what's bad. And we've asked them today to bring a few, maybe fun facts or things you don't necessarily consider about each of these remaining events that make them great. We've asked them to bring 3 things that are, good, better, best. So we're going to go ahead and, why not, bronze, silver, gold. What are the bronze, silver, gold features of these remaining events? And Jeremiah Ion, we're going to start with you to talk about doubles figure skating. what are 3 things that we haven't talked enough about tonight that you want to make sure the voters can consider?
I feel like that there are 3 distinct winners when it comes to talking about figure skating in the doubles, and from least to greatest, I want to award the bronze medal of interest to figure skating doubles to the absolute possible terror and relationship between the two. There's the fear that one of them's going to biff it, or the fear that the relationship is going to biff it if they do not place well enough. As Jason said beforehand, if he had somehow screwed up and cost his wife a medal, it also would have cost him his wife. So I think the bronze being the possible injury to person or heart is important. Silver, I feel like the excitement of the surprise of what the theme could be that they're going to be basing the routine on. There have been a couple different times where I've seen double skating, and you would have something like the one team doing a very classical move to maybe some Brahms music, some really choice classical music, and then the next 2 come out and they're doing like modern interpretive dance to a theme song from Sailor Moon. And so the juxtaposition and excitement of what could be happening coming up, of like, oh, I wonder what Nigeria is going to bring in. And then it's either going to be something very, very high society, or it's going to be the theme to like the A-Team or something. That's really cool. I love that it could be literally anything. And for gold, the gold medal of what keeps this interesting is the fact that everybody loves this. You can talk about this with anybody. You could go with ski jumping and they go, yeah, I'm kind of interested. Luge, yeah, I saw that. But figure skating, you see people's eyes light up. Such as the time that I did a bunch of laundry at my local laundromat during the last Winter Olympics and talked with the local old ladies, with us all sitting on dryers watching a single cathode ray TV that was maybe about like a blistering 7 inches wide. And we were just glued to it. Everybody is excited. It's drama, it's beauty, it's exciting and loving for all ages, all walks of life, and all excitements. If they're interested in the classic music, cool. I'm here for some kind of weird reference from a television show.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeremiah. Okay, Nia, tell us, what are the 3 things you would give medals to about ski jumping?
All right. Well, until Kristen told us that women just started being able to ski jump, my bronze was the fact that I have and will again wake up in the middle of the night to watch it. But because of that, I have to give the bronze to women are finally allowed to do it. Thank you, man. Thank you. My silver reason is because you essentially get to reenact. Also, thank you again, Kristen. You get to essentially reenact the best part of Dirty Dancing. They hold you, and you get to do that repeatedly over and over. And the gold reason, which I stated at the beginning, and is probably the biggest reason I love ski jump. Look, Ma, I'm flying. You are flying while you're doing it. Who doesn't want to be sailing through the air? And if you're good enough, that landing is going to be so smooth that not many people in the world get to do that.
True. It's true. An honorable mention outside of the medals for me is the York peppermint patty commercials from the 90s, where people would just have one bite of York peppermint patty and then believe they were ski jumping.
Absolutely, which is just as delusional as thinking that York peppermint patties are good.
That's true.
Oh, is this a different bracket? We're gonna
different bracket. Sorry, we'll save that. We'll save that for a different bracket. Jason, tell us, you've talked a lot about luge tonight, and here we are back to you with luge again. Yeah. Anything left to say? Top 3 things.
There's a lot left to say, but I'm going to keep it real simple. I was very public with the fact that I was going to ride the luge all the way to the win tonight. The luge is a favorite of mine. And the first thing I would say that we need that's not been covered just yet is lugers are basically the horse jockeys of the Olympics. They are very tiny people. They are very small, skinny individuals. And you know what? This sport has propelled a whole generation of smaller, skinny kids that think that they could be Olympic champions. And, so I'm going to go with the bronze that, they're the horse jockeys of the Olympics and they deserve this win. The silver lining, it's already been said, but it cannot be said enough. It's insane. Okay. This is crazy. You're not only, you're out of your mind. I don't understand why you would want to do this, but my goodness, they deserve to be rewarded for their efforts and their sacrifices for their country. Okay. For their country, just like Sidney Crosby in 2010. Anyways, and the gold medal, the gold reason why this is such a good and amazing sport, it's not curling. Curling shouldn't even been in this bracket, and it's not curling. You
can't make it personal, Jason.
It's not personal against Jeremiah, but I will say he talked 45 minutes about a sport that no one gives a crap about, curling. It wasted so much time. I've got to get home. I'm behind on Righteous Gemstones, and I want to go watch. But anyways, it's amazing. You're good, Jeremiah. I love you. They're calling for us to fight for charity on YouTube right now. And the charity of choice is what? Arcade Comedy Theater.
Arcade Comedy Theater, I know.
Right.
I thought you were going to say the curling center over in Stowe Rocks. Kristen, tell us the 3 things about snowboard half pipe.
So the bronze for me is the costumes. And yes, I said costumes.
Oh, okay.
We haven't spoken enough about what these athletes wear. It's fabulous. Some of them, fine. It's utilitarian for what you have to do. But put a little pizzazz into it. And I think snowboarding has very good outfits, uniforms, whatever you want to call it. They look kind of, I think of everybody like the coolest, and they wear them well. Silver. So the snowboarding tricks have names that it sounded like a different language to me. I think some of the tricks are names like of people who have done them, maybe.
Oh.
I don't know for sure, but that's super fun. And going along with like just the rhythmic, like going back and forth through the pipe with just the chitter chatter of whatever they're talking about. There's like 1280s and Bob Rosses and I don't know. But I like the sensory experience of the half pipe. And then the gold, you can tell when half pipe is really good. They land each of those tricks and then it's like butter. When it's good, it is good. And that is fun to watch, even if you have no idea what they're saying or what they're doing, that it's impressive.
Right on. Nice. That's excellent. So those are some final thoughts. Really good. Excellent medal round there. Thanks, everybody. We're going to move right back into voting. So if everyone can get their phones out, we're doing our final 4. So we'll have 2 matchups here. Doubles figure skating versus ski jumping, or luge versus a snowboard half pipe. We're getting closer to just having one, and it's getting harder and harder, I think. Maybe not. We'll see.
Jason, I just want to say, I don't mind you fighting me because it's still more than we ever seen Olympic hockey.
I'd like to thank Aaron Tarnow for cutting your mic there. So thank you to Aaron Tarnow behind the scenes, always taking care of Jason. Thank you, Aaron. Oh, this is a tough one.
Oh, no, it isn't.
It
hard.
is.
Figure skating
It's tough.
Yeah, figure skating takes it.
Yeah, I gotta agree.
Probably because women have been allowed to do it for a long time.
Inclusivity, that's what votes.
Absolutely. Okay, and then luge versus snowboard half pipe.
I'm excited to see where this is going to go. I honestly can't imagine.
This is a great matchup. This is so tough.
It's an excellent match.
Luge is definitely more iconic of the Olympics, but I just half pipes more fun to watch.
I mean,
really fun to watch.
Come on. If it holds on, if it wins by like one vote, that's a win for both events. It really is. I mean, come on now.
Luge and half pipe are both things that I use at the college campus, but usually not with the Olympics.
Yeah.
We're just pulling ahead here. Yeah.
Pulling
We
ahead.
just got it.
Woo.
Ooh, okay. Final matchup.
Wow.
I blame the tomato.
Gonna be it. Figure skating doubles versus luge.
I'm confused by the second one. It looks like that you spelled curling incorrectly. It's usually
We definitely did.
R.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. This is the final showdown. Then we vote, and then we're done. We've really, this has been hard. I feel like we've all learned a lot. I know I have, but we've gotta decide what's the best Winter Olympic event. Is it double figure skating or is it luge? So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put 100 seconds on the clock, which is my watch, and our 4 panelists are just gonna make their final points, positive or negative, about either or both of these events, just as much as we can say as we get through this time. I will ring this bell when the time is up, so listen for the bell. Normally in the theater, all of our panelists have bells, but it doesn't really work on Zoom, so they're just going to interrupt each other. But when you do that, say actually, and then you can say, I agree or I disagree, but make sure you start your comments with actually, so we know who to look at. And this is it. Final arguments, 100 seconds. On your mark. Hey, Jason, can you start it for me? I'm going to tell you're going to be the first arguer. You got something to say.
I was
I know
like,
you
okay.
do. Are you ready?
Yeah.
On your mark, get set, go.
Luge to me in this, this is what we're doing, right? We're just freestyling right now.
Yeah.
Yep, freestyle, go.
We're freestyling. Listen, this is tough. I get it, but luge has a lot going for it. So it can be one person, it could be 2 people. Like there's a lot of different.
Actually,
options.
I would say luge doesn't really have that much going for it. It's one motion. It's just you just go down.
Additionally, name one loser. Quick, as quick as possible, or I'll give you 3 days, but you can't look at it.
I'm sorry, you broke up. What was the question?
I said name one loser. Name one person who does.
Christoph Samuelson.
Look it up.
Actually, I'm not going to look that up. I'm going to just call that out as a fake name. That's you're an improviser. You have the ability to do that. I think
Absolutely.
That's a made up name.
Is that the name of the guy, like the love interest from Frozen?
Yes, it is.
I think.
Actually, I've never seen
Frozen in the world.
I don't know. I have a hard time arguing. I love figure skating. I love luge. I love them all. I love all of you. I don't want to fight anymore except for Jeremiah.
Actually, I do want to fight because figure skating is clearly the best thing that's here because it takes artistry. It takes practice. You can kind of practice luge, but not really. You can practice on how you're going to raise your neck. I could accomplish that with just an airplane pillow. Figure skating, I'm completely destroy myself trying to make art, which is amazing because that's what I try to do, and I'm never as successful as
actually. This feels like a filibuster at this point. Actually, I feel like he's filibustering. Can someone else jump in?
Actually, yes. Actually, so this is going against what I said earlier, but figure skating doesn't seem sporty enough. I feel like there would be other events.
Figure skating is sporty as hell. They start training. They start that stuff.
That's it. Figure skating is sporty as hell.
That's the quote of the night. That's
the quote of the night. We're gonna call it there.
I had more of an argument, but Nia scared me.
That's bracket night, folks. That's how it goes. Okay, listen. We're going to vote now. We're going to do this final thing. Before we have that final vote, because we're on Zoom, I'm going to say a couple of thank yous because this vote's going to happen and everyone's going to leave. So let me say thank you to our panelists, Kristen McLean, Jason Clark, Jeremiah Ion, and Nia Johnson. Thank you so much for being here tonight and playing along with this very fun conversation. I do want to thank Anna Phyla for doing the kick-ass sword pictures that we had at the top of the show, which was so great. Thank you, Anna. And to the Bracket Night team, Ryan, M, and Neil, who kept us going in the background, along with, of course, our fearless technology leader, Aaron Tarnow, who makes all of our dreams come true. Thank you, Aaron, so much.
Yeah.
Super fun. And Kristen McLean, who not only is a panelist, but also does all of our design and made this thing look really cool too. So it's just really fun. Great opportunity this week for us to think about how to do something a little differently than we've done it in the past. And that was really, I just want to thank everybody for being with us on that because it's been really fun. Please do follow Bracket Night on Instagram and come back for next month's show. We're going to be hopefully in person at the arcade on Thursday, February 24th. More details on that to come. Also, check out the arcade website for their whole plan for Black History Month content. There's going to be a ton of really good shows around the Black History Month theme, and we're excited to support and encourage all of that stuff. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Keep showing up at arcade. Again, throw a couple bucks their way if you don't mind this night. That would be really helpful. And now I will finally let you vote for the best Winter Olympics event. Is it doubles figure skating or is it the luge? Vote now.
I just want to say, Kristen, you're wonderful. Nia, you're wonderful. Katie, I love you. Jason, curling was robbed. You're wrong.
Oh,
You're
no.
should have been.
Oh my gosh. So tight.
Oh, I'm so
Listen,
excited for this.
In
Have you
another
ever had a
universe,
tie?
curling won.
We live in the darkest timeline.
We do if it's a tie.
Have you ever had a tie before?
Oh,
Not to
I
end.
remember the final. I don't
Somebody
think.
at Bracket Night HQ has to be a deciding vote.
Oh,
Oh,
So
wait.
two coming. Oh,
Oh,
oh boy. Oh boy.
that's it. That's all our votes. That's all we're expecting. Luge takes it by one vote in the final vote.
Oh, Jason has a victory lap.
Victorious.
Oh my.
Yes! Yes!
It wasn't curling as originally expected.
Oh, no.
Wasn't even double figure
Jared.
Do you see the
Yeah.
medal?
Is luge.
Aw.
I would
Takes
like to
it.
tell everybody I've accomplished a lot of great things in my lifetime. And I must say, this is second. This is
saw it home.
amazing.
You saw it all the way home.
I
Yes,
put
you
so
did.
much money on this. Holy hell. Thank you
Oh
to
my
everyone.
goodness.
I got to get into YouTube. I got to get into YouTube. I got to thank everybody.
Well, thank you. Thanks again, everyone, for coming out. And remember, it's always okay to disagree, even with the people we love, about the things that really matter. We just try to remember to always fight nice. And on behalf of everyone here at Bracket Night, thanks so much. We can't wait to see you again next month. Have a wonderful night. And don't forget to check out the Winter Olympics streaming live on Peacock starting February 4th.
See you all at the theater now.
See you
Yeah.
soon.
hate that curling is crossed out there. I knife